You know, I've done so many of these reviews, maybe I'm losing my mind. Maybe the little synapses and the gray matter in my brain are ceasing to function correctly, but I'll let you be the judge. Let's get into this video and you tell me. Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to help your game. This is week number 4 in the Stack and Tilt in-depth review. Again, I am no pro, I am not an expert in this model. A lot of you have talked about the short irons, the mid irons, and maybe even up into the 5 or the 6 iron. You guys have been great. However, when you get into the long irons, the hybrids, the 3 wood, the 5 wood, and especially the driver, that consistency, that sweet strike, all of that stuff tends to fade away. That's been sort of the general consensus for what a lot of you have experienced in your own forays into the stack and tilt golf swing. I have had some very similar results in my own, but I would say this, I've done a lot of swing reviews. One thing that they all sort of share is that exact same symptom, that the longer clubs, especially the driver, gives people difficulty. Now, that speaks to golf in general. Golf in general, the longer the clubs get, the more discipline you need, the better skills you need, the better your swing needs to be refined. You can get away with quite a few things with the shorter irons and even the mid irons that will show up and be magnified once you get a driver in your hand. So I can't say that that is a stack and tilt exclusive. We're gonna warm up with the pitching wedge. I'll get into the driver here in just a minute. I just wanna kind of show you guys, for the ones who haven't seen the videos, number one, I need to work myself up to driver. I'm not 20 years old anymore. I'm not made out of rubber bands and gasoline like I used to be, so I've gotta kind of get myself warmed up into it. But just to review, the feet are flared out. I've got a little more weight cheated toward the front side. I want to keep my weight there. There's not a weight shift back and forth. Trying to get my knees to buckle out a little bit more, kind of like a cowboy on a horse rather than being pushed together. And when my knee flexes to allow me to get my shoulder down, I want the knee to bend outward, not inward, this way. Pitching wedge in my hand, we'll just get a few swings in here to start. Yeah, just warming up. It's a good strike to start off with. Yeah, another good strike. Oh man, block that out to the right. That's not a good swing. This is a 7 iron, by the way. I'm trying to show you guys the good with the bad. A little off balance, but a draw. This is me as if I had bought a pair of tennis shoes that you didn't know anything about. And I'm like, hey, I bought these tennis shoes that you were curious about. I'm gonna check them out. How do they feel? How do they wear? How much do they cost? What do I think of the color schemes? It's the same exact thing. It's another bad one. Club face, wide open. Not a good swing. This is a review of a golf swing technique. Now, over the course of the last 3 weeks leading up to this driver, I've had days where I'm absolutely munching my irons, and it's been super extra crispy KFC, just like Tom and all the other stack and tilt guys out there talk about. But I also have these just insanely bad shots. And I'm not enough of a golf expert. I'm not a master of kinesiology and physiology. I'm not a big enough expert to know exactly what caused that just happened. Where did that come from? I have no idea. But now it's time for what you've been waiting for, the driver. Just so you know what we're working with, we've got a 10.5 degree ZX5 Mark II driver from Srixon. I've got the 5R Blue Ventus Fujikura shaft with an oversized grip. I tend to hit quite a bit up on the golf ball with the driver in an effort to try and get lower spin and more distance. But if you listen to Tom and you listen to some of the stats from Golf Tech and all those, they say that the driver, the tour average with the driver is actually about 1.5 degrees, I believe, I'm just trying to go from memory here, 1.5 degrees down, not up, down. That the driver setup and swing should be almost exactly like any other club in the bag. The difference is, let's say, all right, if I'm facing the camera here, that ball is just inside my left heel. okay? Now, if I was hitting a pitching wedge, I would just pull the back foot in. Ball position is the same. Hit 5-iron, you might move it back a little bit. Hit driver, you move it back a little bit further. And by moving it back further, you're actually lowering or moving the center of the center of the swing, the low point of the swing back, because you're moving your center of gravity back. So that moves the low point back just a little bit. So when you do that, there is a tendency that I have found that it's really hard to keep most of your weight on your front leg. If you keep moving this foot back, you start to look very awkward. So I think that something might have something to do with how far apart your feet actually are. Like when you're hitting driver, maybe this is better than getting too wide with this back foot, because now you're getting your weight pretty evenly distributed. And the only way to get it over here is to bump that hip pretty far forward. Now most of the weight is on my left side. The other thing I'm having issues with, that I personally have had issues with driver in any type of swing, any swing model, is that I tend to be too close to the golf ball. So I'm standing too upright. I need to get back away from it a little bit more so that I've got this relationship to the golf ball. Here, my chest has very little relationship to the golf ball, but if I move back here, now this is more pointed at the golf ball. Now I've got a better relationship. I'm further away. It's going to help me take it away, inside away, and then come at it on a much shallower angle. So personally for me, I've been working on that. But I find that after you hit like a 7-iron, maybe I'm here with a 7-iron, but I need to be here with a driver. That's a big difference. It's a big difference. And it's one of the many variables that can contribute to us having inconsistencies and poor results when we try to hit driver with any swing model. Now I'm going to hit driver the original way that it was working out in the very beginning. Okay, I'm gonna start off the way that I actually started. Okay, so ball inside the left foot, feet flared out. I'm a little bit too close to the ball. I don't have that relationship. You know, my spine angle is kind of like this when it needs to be more like that. You see that difference. But now I'm too close. So if I'm going to go shoulder down, I have to really get this down here, and I end up getting a little bit steeper. I don't know if you can see that or not, but since I'm so close here to get the shoulder down, it kind of gets, for me, a little bit awkward. But I'm going to show you, and again, I haven't hit any drivers today yet, but I'm going to show you kind of how I started, and we'll see how this first one works out. I hit that high on the face, left the face open a little bit, as evidenced by the fact that the ball is going off to the right. That's not even going out to 200 yards, which is well below my average. My average with the driver, total distance, carry, and roll, which I don't get a ton of roll, but it's generally between the 230 and 240 range before stack and tilt. All right, not awful. Not awful, didn't feel super powerful, but that's a draw. That's definitely got more distance than the first one. So I would say in the beginning, that's probably one of the better results. That's a total distance of 232 yards, 94 mile an hour club head speed, about 134 mile an hour ball speed. Not the most terrible, but now you've got to pull almost a hook. But the strike was not miserable. It wasn't miserable. What are we going to get here? We've got a total distance of 220, club head speed of 94, ball speed of 134 again. But I lost about 10 to 12 yards on that. And now I've hit 3 drives the old way. One was weak and right. One was kind of down the middle with a draw and longer. I would call it a pretty good drive. And then the next one was a pull hook that was a little bit shorter. That is the very definition of inconsistent. So now let's try 3 drives the new-ish way, the way that I am right now. All right, so that's kind of down the middle, tailing off a little bit to the left. It's not a bomb. It's not 280 yards, That is for sure. How did that feel? Felt really weird. Club head speed, 94.5, ball speed, 134, total distance of 230 yards. Kind of down the middle, had a draw. All right. What we're looking for again is not for my ball to go 40 yards further. We're looking for it to be more consistent. All right. So now I'm going to try and pull my feet in a little bit, maintain the relationship to the golf ball, stay over it, in and back down. Not a great strike, but it's down the middle. The contact was terrible. A little bit on the heel. It's down the middle. It's going to be shorter than the other one. But let's see. 94.3 club speed. The ball speed's down to 128 because the smash factor is terrible, but it's down the middle. All right, so now we're dealing with a center of the club face contact issue. All right, that is supposed to be fixed with stack and tilt swing. That is the best one yet. Started right, push draw, coming back to the middle, right down the center line. Not a bomb, only snuck out past 225. 92.2 mile an hour, club head speed down, ball speed 133. That's a great ball flight, but the speed was down. So did I do something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? Or is it possible that I just haven't worked enough with this swing yet? All right, now that I've had a little bit of a warm up, let's take it out for a real world test on the virtual course. Next week, weather permitting, I'll be filming week number 5, which will be the on-course test. So I've got to get prepared to be hitting driver, then wedge, then chip shot, then 6-iron, then 7-iron, then driver, then 6-iron, then driver, then wedge. All of that stuff I've got to be going back and forth. 225 right down the middle on a 329-yard par 3. Trying to take it away inside and deliver the right hip right back into the golf ball. Left arm straight. Let's get the right hip turning back and away. It's down the middle. All right, that's not bad. A little bit of a draw, rolling out to a total of 240 yards. What's the club head speed? Give it 95.5 miles an hour. It's going a little left on me. It's about the right number though. 94. Oh, the backspin action. Yeah, that's beautiful. Little draw. Perfect. Perfect. What's the total distance on this one going to be? Out to 245. Go to right distance. Keep going. Keep going. Roll out. Just going right at it. Be the right club. Go. Go. Get up. Oh, and that's going to roll all the way back down the hill. That is the wrap up of the driver video. I'm going to have to apply all that I've learned over the last 4 weeks and into the 5th week to a real world scenario on the golf course to see if there's anything measurable. Is there any movement in the right direction over the course of a little over a month in my review of stack and tilt that's going to help me going forward? I don't need my scores to drop by 10 points, 10 strokes. I don't need to see that. That's unrealistic. But if I see more consistency, if I see more greens hit, if I see more fairways hit, if I see my driver becoming more predictable, I'll know that the needle has moved in the right direction with stack and tilt. And hopefully it'll give you a little insight. Maybe you want to take the future of your game there. In any event, be sure to like and comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the little bell off to the right. Select all for the notifications so you don't miss any videos. Links in the description to save yourself some money. See you next week.